Tristan, welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm really good. It's a really lovely sunny day here. So I'm feeling good, up for the chat.
I just first want to take time to admire the bow tie. I love the bow tie. What's on it?
It's got little Scotty dogs. Oh.
I love it. I love it. Talk to me about who you are, your story. Tell me a bit more about you.
Okay, well, I can tell you what I do, or do you want to know who I am?
I want to know everything.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. Well, I am a health and wellness life coach, a.k.a. the Gorgeousness Coach. So yes, if you think of the word gorgeous and you think, how can I make that even more fabulous? Add an "th" on the end. And people are like, what on earth is a gorgeousness coach? And then I explain, and then we get down to the nitty gritty, which is, helping people with their physical and emotional well-being.
Love that. Talk to me about your background. What has led you to becoming the Gorgeousness Coach?
How long's the podcast? Because my journey to becoming the Gorgeousness Coach has taken me. I never planned on being a coach. You see,
Sure.
I have done so many things. I have worked as a performer for years. I don't do that anymore. I've kind of worked in network marketing. I've worked in restaurants and bars, and I've had my own businesses. I've been an artist, a textile artist. I have dressed up as a female impersonator. I have been a party butler. I have been a dance coach. What else? I mean, God, I've been a cat sitting service called Pussy Galore, with a great tagline, actually. Pussy Galore, do I mind cats? Absolutely. I can't imagine why that didn't take off.
Genius.
So I've done loads of different things, and I look back now because I'm, fortunate enough now. People are, I'm often interviewed on radio and podcasts and stuff, and I realised, I've just been searching my whole life for my thing, and I'm very proud of that, really, because although at the time, I'm not really sure why dressing up as a 1950s society hostess called Crystal Chandalier, though I did get, great feedback. I was like, what's that got to do with my life's purpose? But it was all part of the journey. So what's led me to here is a combination of lots of trial and error and lots of very big challenges, because in my late 30s, had a very, very difficult time with my mental health, which led to a huge breakdown, which led ultimately to a breakthrough. Thought I'd get that sneaky little phrase in there. So it hasn't been straightforward, but in my own recovery from mental health issues, I just upped my levels of self-care and really had to invest in myself. And people started asking me what I was doing and could I help them?
Simple, but so powerful.
That's, that's how I got into coaching, because people wanted my help. I hadn't planned on it, which is kind of the wonderful thing about life sometimes, because it was something that kind of found me, but it ticks the boxes. It really does, because it's the most wonderful thing to do, to empower people and to share, hopefully in a very authentic and, when appropriate, humorous way, how to value yourself more. And that can be a combination of emotional guidance and practical help.
I love the fact you talked about purpose, because you've tried a number of things, and I like the conclusion that you've come to around just trialing things. And I speak to a number of people that are trying to search for their life's purpose, and they feel like they might be a flitter, like flitting from one thing to another. And it kind of, that sense of flitting almost stresses them out a little bit. I'd just love to know what was that feeling? What was that moment, if there was one, of just knowing that this was the thing?
I've always been a seeker ever since I read The Alchemist. I know I'm looking for something. And the word purpose can be a real double-edged thing, because people are like, I don't know what the hell my purpose is. I'm just trying to pay my rent. But I always had a sense that there was something I wanted to do, something I wanted to be. And, if you haven't read The Alchemist, or your listeners haven't read The Alchemist, it's an amazing book, because it's about, going on a journey to eventually return to yourself. And I suppose that's what I've done. You know, I've done lots of crazy things, but it always felt like this is the right thing for right now. And I do think people are very hesitant, and obviously because of often financial considerations, they are hesitant to explore. Like, you need to decide what you want to do at 16. And I was like, well, I just want to be Madonna's backing dancer. I'm living in a little village in Cornwall. I'm not sure that's going to happen. But here's the thing, it was never this is the thing. I think I can say that now. I always knew it wasn't the thing, but it seemed to be the right thing for that time. And I was like, me dressing up as a woman, or me doing crazy things. But it's always been a kind of combination of kind of businessy things and entertainment and something to do with health and wellness. And I've kind of combined them all. I no longer dress up as a woman, although I do make a very attractive woman. Because I'm like, you know, I see beyond gender. I have no gender
100%.
agenda. Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
100%. And I just love to dive into the word gorgeousness. What does it mean to you?
Okay, well, here's what happened was, because I was at a swanky, I don't often go to swanky parties, but I was invited to a swanky fashion fashion show at the London Palladium. Now, that is sadly not my usual lifestyle, but I was like, I'm going. It's going to be, I love fashion, and I'm not a fashionista, but I like to see beautiful clothes. And I got invited to this amazing event. There was a free bar, and I was in the VIP hobnobby area. And someone said, what do you do? And I swear to goodness, this is what happened. I knew that I was a health and wellness coach. This was about 5 or 6 years ago. And I knew, I was like, well, that doesn't sound very glamorous. Doesn't sound very fabulous. And you know, if I'm in a VIP champagne bar at the London Palladium, I should probably come up with something a bit more gorgeous. So I was like, after a couple of dry sherries, I said, I'm the Gorgeousness Coach. And they're like, wow, what's that? And I was like, oh, it's a health and wellness life coach. The word gorgeous for me. Now, here's the thing, because people sometimes say that is the most ridiculous name for your business. And I would agree. It's a stupid name. I'm like, what did I pick that name for? Because people are like, that's a stupid name. And I will have, as I say, I agree. It is a bit of a silly name, but gorgeous for me it's just one of those words that makes me smile. And I'm like, gorgeous. Now, that isn't just about how someone looks. It's their energy. It's their personality. You know, the most gorgeous people I have met have not been conventionally handsome or beautiful, but they got sass, they got style, they know themselves. Gorgeous for me is as much internal as it is external. And I just like the word. I like it so much, I added a nurse on the end. Life is better if you add a nurse. Just try it out, like fabulous, nurse, Ryan, nurse.
Yes, let's do that. I will come back to you with at least 3 different words by the end of today that I've added nurse on the end too. I'd love to know, because you talked there something about something that I'm really passionate about, that life is better when you live from the inside out. And I'd just love to know the difference between internal and external gorgeousness.
Well, I think true gorgeousness is an inside job. That's what I always say when I'm speaking at events and things. Because it's got to be, you know, when people really know their value, when people really understand their uniqueness and their worth as a human being, I think it gives people a sparkle. I think gorgeousness is kind of like it's a glow. And that can really only come from inside. And of course, I'm all for both of the internal, external. I think, you know, they meet somewhere in the middle, perhaps. I'm really interested in how I present myself, but that is ultimately a reflection of how I feel about myself. So maybe that changes from time to time, and I'm okay with both. You know, we live in a world where we are, you know, affected by what happens externally and how we look and how we present ourselves. But more and more, I hope that my internal sense of my own value, and when I work with people, that's what I work with them to help them understand, shows up on the outside. And especially as we get older, when, you know, cynicism, regret, and bitterness are very much wanting to make a guest appearance. And I'm like, I'm not my circumstances. I'm not my Facebook likes. I'm not the number of followers I have on Instagram. I'm not my you know, my face, my body.
Yeah.
I'm all for embracing, hopefully, kind of a holistic attitude towards it. But internal gorgeousness, I think, is a vibe, an energy, a confidence, and ideally that's based on being unapologetically celebratory of yourself. Yeah.
Love that. In my conversations with people, I think there's a real difference between intellectually knowing that we need to look after ourselves and health and well-being, and that we shouldn't compare ourselves. There's an intellectual knowing, and then there's in the heart knowing. And I guess, how do you help people get to that inner space? How do they take step one towards inner self-love?
It isn't, you know, it isn't one size fits all. A lot of the time when I'm talking to people, I do make that distinction between a kind of a mind feeling and maybe a body knowing. And I have to be careful with people, because some people are like, well, how do I lose weight? And I need, you know, some people aren't ready for the more deeper conversation. So I try and marry the emotional and the practical. But I just try and make it kind of, try and speak in pictures or describe things in pictures. So I say, okay, well, left to our own mind devices, we will, you know, we are kind of in a loop of repetitive conditioned thinking. So get out of your mind, get in a little elevator, and get in the elevator, close the door, and press B for body. Get out of your mind and get back into your body. And that's where I would rather people spend a bit more time. Get to know your internal dialogue. Get to find out what's going on in your body. Do you remember that movie? It's something like Journey to the Center of something or other, but it's basically how they miniaturized these little people into a submarine. They went into someone's body. Do you remember that movie?
No, keep going.
Anyway, so basically, you know, I'm saying get back in touch with your body. And so for me, my own journey was get out of my head, get out of my mind. And because I know that's just mostly just a danger zone. And it's usually just never has anything new to say. So if you want to get, you know, more in touch with your value, it's not in your mind, it's in your body. So I do work on that with people, and I appreciate for some people that's like, I don't really get it. Do I eat quinoa or not? And the answer is yes, you do.
That's amazing. I think sometimes as a coach, we have to have lived and learned these experiences ourselves. Would that be true of, you know, your own path?
Oh, it has to be true for me, because I didn't plan on being a coach.
Sure.
You know, it wasn't like, oh, you know, I think coaching's really trendy now, isn't it? It's like, I'll be a coach. I'll be a coach. Have you any experience? No. I've done a course though. Brilliant. Okay. And I'm not criticizing that, because it's more coaches, hopefully good ones, the better. But my coaching came on the back of my own experiences.
Yeah.
And what I learned, and people wanted to know what I was doing. And more than what I was doing, what I was feeling or thinking. So for me, it's really important to be authentic. So I don't do that. I'm the coach. I've got the answers. You're the client. Here's the solutions. I'm like, this is a conversation. These are some ideas. This is what's worked for me and the people that I work for. Let's see what works for you, because it isn't one size fits all. But my experience has led to me becoming a coach. And that's what I think is really important for how I coach anyway, which I'm not a traditional coach, because I'm quite quirky, and we have a bit of a laugh. And health and wellness, you know, where's the fun? Where's the fun? Now, sometimes it's not funny, but where's the lightness of touch? We're like, oh my God, it's so, you know, everything's so difficult, so heavy. Well, I know I've been there, but what about a little bit of mirth? A little bit of, you know, a little bit of sparkle sometimes. And I try and use that occasionally where appropriate.
How?
Just by being honest, by being myself, because I am, as everybody is, I'm multifaceted. I'm quirky, I'm serious, I'm shy, I'm outrageous, I'm, you know, confident, I'm not confident. I am just trying to be authentic. And so I just try not to be, you know, I want to be multidimensional when I talk to people. So I'm like, just practicing being myself by saying, this is what I think, and what about that? And if I think it's something funny to say that seems appropriate, sometimes not appropriate, I will say. And I think my clients really like it because I'm just kind of bursting some of the tension or alleviating some of the heaviness about the conversation. And that's just how I work. I'm not saying coaches, right, crack some jokes out. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just using my own personality, which I have a sense of humor, and I try and bring it into my work. So I'm not like, okay, now I've got a coaching hat on, I must be super serious all the time and talk like a coach and act like a coach. I didn't train to become a coach. So I don't have those kind of behavioral codes that some other coaches may have, because I'm not being myself. People approach me. So, because I get results for people. And I think when you start to value yourself and you're like, you know what, my self-esteem is in my hands, so I'm going to be myself. I don't want to hurt anybody. I want to be kind and loving. But if I am sometimes a little bit quirky and say something that might be a little bit, saucy, I'm all right with it.
If you had to take the word coach off of the table and describe what you do with people in other words, what would they be?
What I do, what am I? I suppose I'm a mirror. What I try and do is hold up a mirror to people and say, don't forget who you are. So I would call myself a mirror. So that's the first word that came into my mind. It's going to have to do.
What if people don't like what they're looking at?
Most people don't like what they're looking at. So I tell them, I know, because I have felt that way in the past. Most people, I would say 99% of people don't particularly like what they're looking at. But what are we looking at? Are we looking at the truth, or are we looking at a distorted self-image? And usually behind all the judgments and the situations that happen in life, I think everyone is gorgeous. But as I often say to clients, this isn't not always a feeling gorgeous. This is a knowing gorgeous. Like self-worth is a knowing, not a feeling. Like, oh my God, I feel so full of self-worth. It's like, I don't. And I would say I've got pretty high self-worth. But that's an acceptance of a fundamental fact, not a feeling. For me, anyway.
What do you think makes the difference between someone that fully embraces their gorgeousness and those that don't?
That's the front door. I'm not answering it. It's probably my gorgeousness just coming, my daily delivery of gorgeousness. Someone who embraces it, someone doesn't. Most people don't embrace it to start with. So, we learn through repetition. So when people say, I don't have much self-belief, I say, well, when you first learnt to drive, were you very good at it? Mostly. I was dreadful. I just couldn't work out how to steer and use all the, and look out the window at the same time. So, we learn through repetition. So, whether that's affirmations and things like that. But I think it's about saying you're not meant to feel anything other than you're feeling. You will learn to understand this. And there are practical ways of doing it. So for me, it's not just, oh, well, love yourself and you're amazing, which is lovely. But for me, self-care, how we eat, how we move, how we present ourselves, everything about how we live our lives can help us to get back in touch with our innate value. So, I'm someone who really loves healthy eating. It's delicious and nutritious. I exercise a lot. I take pride in my skin and my appearance. I'm kinder to myself than I ever have been. So for me, I kind of say it's something we grow. It doesn't arrive fully formed. It's like getting to know someone. Like when you get to know a friend, it's not going to happen in one coffee. It's going to happen.
What do you say to those people that think self-care is selfish?
I would just say, I understand what you're thinking. And selfish, it's got such a bad connotation. What the hell's wrong with being selfish? It's like selfish it's such a loaded term. Like I have selfish, but that doesn't mean I'm self-centered. And even if I am, I don't care. What we're all meant to be Mother Teresa. I have some aspects of my personality that I'm selfish in, and I have lots of areas of my life where I'm not. I think I balance out as a relatively kind and loving human being. But I think we've been told for so long, oh my goodness, the worst thing we could possibly do is value ourselves. Oh my God, God forbid that we take care of ourselves and stand up for ourselves and have boundaries.
Mm.
So I'm like, yeah, I get it. But then I would say, well, what does self-care look like to you? Oh, it's about spending so much time on myself that I ignore other people. I'm like, well, I don't think that's the case. I think when you start to value yourself, I think you are a much more kinder person. You have more to give. But people can think what they like. My job is not to persuade people anything other than what they currently feel. But that's cool.
I love that. I believe that a better you is a better you for the people that you connect with, you serve, family, friends.
You have to meet people where they're at. And if people have low self-esteem, or they feel that taking care of themselves is selfish, that's okay. We can start with that. We can take tiny steps, and we can work out what feels right for you. So, we just have to be patient with ourselves and other people.
Just out of my eyesight, there's a book called Lost Connections by Johan Hari. And in it, he talks about some research that he found that someone in a marketing agency said that the best marketing is when we get to feel like we're a loser if we do not have the product that,
Yes.
And what's your view on the marketing that we are subjected to on every single day basis?
Oh, some of it drives my gonads crazy. I literally feel them like shrinking back up into my body at times. I'm like, hi, I'm a personal trainer, and I'm selling, you don't know who I am, and you want to have a six-pack? Well, I got a six-pack program. And now that doesn't work for me. I've already got a six-pack. However, I'm like, first of all, I don't like being shouted at or patronized, or kind of, I don't know, just like, I'm not an idiot. I can't even bear adverts like on the TV. Like if I'm watching like Channel 5, on demand, I'm so allergic. I have to turn the volume down and look away or start singing a song. Can't bear it. Stop trying to sell me stuff. I'm not here for your tampon commercial. Nothing wrong with tampons. I'm all for menstrual health. But what's the question? Yeah, marketing. I mean, I've made mistakes with it, and I'm sure I do. People might look at the way I promote my business going, God, that's so ridiculous. I'm doing my best to be authentic. I want people to feel they get so much more from me than I ask from them. So it is an exchange of value. And for me, I just want to be real and genuine. It's not a hard sell. Social media advertising should be a soft sell. Might make a little tainted love reference. For people that are over 35, you might get that. If you're not, look it up on the interweb. Soft sell, tainted love, 1981. So some of it really annoys me and feels like, oh, please, I don't know who you are and I don't care. So the key, I think, to marketing is you've got to warm people up. You've got to be nice. You've got to give, ask. I think it's 7 gives and then an ask. If every post you do is like, are you fat? I can give you the solution. What about giving people advice, warming up your audience, get them to know you, like you, and trust you, and occasionally say, oh, by the way, I offer coaching, or I'm a personal trainer, or here's my product or service. Just don't hit people on the head with it. I get so many messages from people saying, hi, not even hi, how are you? Just hi, you'd be great in my team. And click on a link to find out more. I'm like, no. No. Build some rapport. Be nice to people. I react very violently to kind of being sold at. So just try and lighten up and have some fun with it and be a real person. Don't be an online caricature. Hey, I've got a weight loss program. You need it. I don't respond to that. Some people do. Good for them.
Yeah. How can people connect with you? How can they find out more about what they do? How can they consume more of your content and your services?
Consume. Make me sound like some sort of gorgeous Victoria sponge cake. Which
more of you in there. If they want more of you, your energy and your gorgeousness in their life.
Well, they can find out what I'm up to or what I'm saying. I post on social media quite a lot. Hopefully it's pretty good content. At Real Tristan Lee. Tristan Lee, the Gorgeousness Coach, my Facebook page. I have Tristan's Gorgeousness Gang, free Facebook page, private Facebook page, free to join, £100,000 to leave. So you've got to stay in. I have a book, Munch Move Moisturize, available on tristanlee.com.
Yeah.
Apart from that, you know, I think that you'll find me if you go through any of those routes.
Thank you for the time out of your day coming to spend it with us. And my ethos is all about helping people be better than they were yesterday. I'm just curious to know what that phrase, always better than yesterday, means to you.
A desire to grow, a desire to be a better coach, be a better friend, just a commitment to ongoing growth and expansion.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. And I continue to honor the bow tie. Bow tie envy is amazing.
Bow tie love.